But my beats, they are hard.
All right, welcome to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Another live episode on a Sunday night. Check 1, 2. Volume. What volume?
I check 1, 2. I hear you loud and clear.
All right, I don't know. Blue Jacket for life already. Volume. I don't know. What the volume is too high on that intro? What? Holla at me. Welcome to another episode, live episode right here on the Black College Sports Network. Brian Fulford and A.D. Drew. Good to see you, Drew. Good to see you, Drew, in your home studio. How you doing tonight?
Made it home in time. I'm doing all right, my brother. Everything's still here.
Good. You don't have to show me the toes, but I'm assuming the toes are still there.
Yeah, everything is still there. No 3rd-degree burns, 2nd-degree burns, or anything like that.
I will admit, for myself, the 4th of July was a rather chill day. I didn't hear any large volume of fireworks going off in my neighborhood, which is like a first. I didn't go see the fireworks anywhere. Didn't even tune it on. Didn't even watch it on TV. You know, sometimes you can go to PBS or you can watch it live from DC or New York. Or I don't know. I just didn't get a chance to see anything. So if you were out there and enjoyed the fireworks wherever you did, congratulations. And I hope everything went well. So getting old, Drew, getting old. I'm gonna have to find some kids to go. I love watching how kids enjoy the fireworks. So that's how you get into it. So gotta surround myself with some kids, somebody else's kids, obviously. All right, so coming up on tonight's show, we are days away from the SIAC Football Media Day, which sort of kicks off the we can officially say it kind of kicks off the 2024 football season. I think once you start getting into media days, which will be over the course of these next 3 weeks for many, many conferences, it sort of is the official kickoff to the football season. It's the preseason talking season. We get to hear from the coaches. What are they going to say? Not much. But Coach Speak gets ramped up. It really gets ramped up. Now, there will be a few lone wolves. There will be a few people out there that will go off script, kind of like my man did over at Coach Oliver over at North Carolina Central. He's liable to go off script and just tell the world that he's coming for you, and he'll go off script a little bit. But most coaches during media day sessions chill. It's like don't give the media. More importantly, don't give your opponents nothing to put up on the bulletin board, right, Drew? Isn't that kind of the standard mode of operation for media days?
Definitely the mode of operation. Don't talk yourself out by saying something stupid. And you remember almost a year ago, we had 3 days before, and I know we're a week away from SWAC Media Day, but we had what we thought was going to be a distraction with Florida A&M with
Some
the
people.
locker room
I didn't
video.
think that. I didn't think that. Some
Right,
people
but
did.
it cycled.
It was
cycled
something for
out.
people to talk about, right?
Let me tell y'all something. This is why they do the news dump, the Friday night news dump in media. Because that was a classic case of a Friday night news dump 4 days before SWAC Media Day. And by the time we got to SWAC Media Day, I don't even think, did we even ask a question about it? I don't even remember asking a question about it.
I mean, there were some people who did. We're
No, I'm talking about us.
No, I don't. I mean, we're a little savvier and smarter.
But by then, it was really a non-story.
Yeah.
We discussed it when we were going through predictions. Will this be a distraction? Blah 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 blah. This was not the character of a championship team, but you know, it was really a non-story.
Championship teams don't do this and that kind of stuff. I remember all that. Yeah, championship teams don't do this. Blah blah blah.
And I know we're gonna talk about media days later, Brian. I've got the question that's universal for all of these media days.
Okay. Let me hear it.
Will a team go undefeated in conference this year?
Ooh.
The SWAC, the last 3 years, the champion has gone undefeated.
Jot that one down.
The last 2 years in the SIAC, the champion has gone undefeated.
What about the CIAA? CIAA feels like
did Union lose last year?
Ooh, I don't know. We're about to.
Fayetteville went. I believe did Union lose a game last year?
Hold on, you keep talking. I'm gonna look it up. I don't think so. Here you go.
The only conference where we get losses is the conference you wouldn't think we would get losses at, and that's the BIAC because and they have the fewest number of games.
Right.
But you know, last time we had an undefeated BIAC team was South Carolina State in 2021.
Right. We did have one loss in the CIAA. Thank you, WSSU Ram Nation. Virginia Union lost one game to Fayetteville State. That was the tornado game or hurricane game or whatever it was.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Right. Right.
And did Fayetteville State lose?
Well,
I'm talking about before the championship game.
I don't think they lost not until the championship game, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so that was the undefeated team. I knew somebody was undefeated in the CIAA.
Right.
So, you know,
and of course the MEACs was the 50 burger that that Howard put on Central. Yeah.
You know, so those are the things that you have to sit here and question. Will any conference have a undefeated regular season and or a undefeated
That's a great question. Great question. Now the question is, when you ask that question, it'll be interesting to see who will say yes, us, and who will sort of duck and run the other way when you ask that question. Because you could try to duck under that question and say, well, I'm not really sure whether anyone will go undefeated. I know as far as we're concerned, we're going to play our hardest every game. Our objective is to go 1-0 every week. You know, that's what you're going to get. That's what you're going to get.
That's not going to be the question. That's not going to be the question that I ask to a coach, though.
Somebody will say yes.
Yeah. And I'm not asking that question to a coach, Brian.
They're going to say us.
I'm going to ask that to all the pundits. All the people.
You got to ask the coach. Why wouldn't you ask the coaches or the players? You're duck. You're being
coaches going to say they go on 1-0 every week. Our job is to beat our next opponent.
You already know. I just gave it to you. Right? You already know, coach.
I do not want coach speak.
How about the players? Because they're liable to, somebody's liable to mess up. Somebody's liable to say,
Who
yeah,
gonna say, yeah, we probably lose to so and so and so and so. You about to lose your scholarship. That's what you about to lose.
who's gonna say that? Nobody's saying that, right?
Yeah. But
Um,
but I really want to see what the pundits think. Will we have an undefeated team? And let's flip that, Brian.
make sure you jot this down when you have your notepad ready, and as you go around and ask these pundits, please make sure to document this. Not that we're gonna hold it over anybody's head, but just for research purposes.
Yeah. So if you say there will be an undefeated team, are you bold enough to say who? Question number one.
All right.
And let's flip that, Brian. Will we actually see a scenario when you have two undefeated teams in the three conferences that have championship games?
Well, it is possible because now you don't
It's
have
possible.
East West. How about a scenario? And I don't know, the scheduling gods would have to really be on something. Could you have three undefeated teams? Is that even possible? That's because remember, we're talking in 12. In one league you have 11 teams, so that's 10 opponents. And you only play 8 games. In another league you have 12 opponents and you play 8 games. So I would say in the SIAC
could realistically have two.
It could. You don't think there could be a third? There could be a third.
I know. I'm trying to see if one of those other teams who let's talk about the two. Miles Tuskegee, winner of that could be an undefeated team because they play heads up. So both of them won't be undefeated.
Well, hold on. You're already presuming teams. I'm just saying.
No, I'm telling you why.
Okay.
Because looking at the schedule, Miles and Tuskegee do not.
All right, let's do this. Hold on, because we're gonna get to talking about that. Let's save that. I got you thinking. I can see the wheels. I can see the wheels turning. I got you thinking. I see a little smoke coming out the back of one of those ears, but it's okay. We're gonna break that down here in a second. So coming up on the show tonight, last week we talked about the SIAC head coaches. Of course, the SIAC coming up with their media day, they only have 2 coaches that have been at their program for 4 years. Those are the elder statesmen in that league. So a very young league in terms of coaches at their school. When we talk about the CIAA, who will have their media day a week from Wednesday, right? That's a different story. And so we'll break down the CIAA head coaches and just kind of we're not going to make too many presumptions. I just think it's interesting when you look at the coaching the coaches in that conference. Of course, we'll get into asking one big question of every SIAC team ahead of media day. We'll try to answer one big question that if we had the mic up on the stage where we would ask, obviously we'll have an opportunity, and I think we will have an opportunity. I know A.D. Drew will be in the building. Roy Evans will be there. We think Dr. Ville, Charles Bishop will be there. They're dealing with potentially some weather related to Hurricane. Was it Beryl? Beryl. I just was watching the CBS News. Beryl. But it is coming towards their home base of Houston, Texas. So if you have family and friends in the Houston, Texas area, keep them in your thoughts and prayers. Hopefully they will be safe. I got to text a few people myself now that I thought about it, and just check on people and make sure they're all ready for what's coming. It's hard to believe that it's hurricane season, Drew. I mean, I'm living in Florida, and obviously it is hurricane season, July 1. So here we are 7 days into the month, and they're already on the bees. So that's not a good thing. So just keep those folks in your thoughts and prayers. All right, let me do a quick.
Season started June 1.
I always thought it was July 1. For some reason, I always associated with the new calendar of an athletic season, but I could be wrong. But I think it's July 1. I think it's July 1. Somebody check that for me. Let me give a few shout outs to some people that have already jumped in the chat rooms. However, and wherever you're watching us, you may be watching us on YouTube, on the Jericho Broadcast Network's YouTube page at MyJBN Online, or our own BCSN Sports Wrap YouTube page. We say hello to you and ask you to hit that thumbs up button, if you would, while you're there in the chat room. Maybe you're watching us on Facebook, Black College Sports Network, or our BCSN Sports Wrap Facebook page. Hello to you. Hit that like button there on Facebook. You could be watching us on X or maybe Instagram Live. We appreciate your taking time to watch the show. You can always come over to the chat rooms if you want to chat. I think you can even send a chat on X. So if you are on X watching the show, you can hit us up and send a hello or a chat from there as well. Shout out to Jeff Roberts, first one in the building, Aggie Pride. Yes, indeed. Can't wait to talk about North Carolina A&T, kind of find out what's eating them, what's on their mind. Tamara T checking in. Good to see you, Tamara. Thanks for being a member of the Jericho Broadcast Network's YouTube page. You guys can go and join our YouTube page. Your support of the Black College Sports Network is appreciated. Helps us be able to get to events like the SIAC Media Day, where we will be streaming live. We've been doing it for the last 3-4 years. Always fun time, So, I mean, I know a lot of people do videos and a lot of post stuff, but I think we are one of the few people who actually, outside of the conference, who actually stream live during the media days. I know we'll be at the SWAC Media Day next week, next Tuesday. Next Wednesday is the CIAA Media Day. Not really sure who or where we'll be for that. And then the MEAC is the following week. And I know usually Dr. Cavill is there representing on behalf of the network. So he'll be there as well. Mary 305, we say hello to you. Thank you for checking in. Let's see. Blue Jacket for Life. Are we going to speak on the NCU contract with Peak Sports and not filing insurance claims with Duke Health? I don't know, Drew.
It might be on the script.
Do we want? It might be. Okay, it might be. Yeah, it might be
on the script.
It might be. WSU, Winston-Salem State Ram Nation, thank you for checking in. Pointing out, we were talking about the preseason stuff earlier around FAMU and all that stuff. Blue Jacket for Life says, no undefeated teams in the SIAC this year. That's his prediction. Okay. All right. We'll store that one away. Walter Harley, appreciate you checking in with us. Prediction: somebody's losing to Winston-Salem State this year. I think he's talking. Who were we talking about at that point earlier in the show? Tuskegee? Miles?
No, we were talking about
look at their schedule.
Union or somebody lost. We were talking about somebody in the CIAA.
Okay. Jeff Roberts says Morgan State is going undefeated in the MEAC. Interesting.
We hold on that one for a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good to see you, Chuck Hunt from Monroe, Louisiana. Thank you for checking in. Yeah, I'm gonna pin this. I'm gonna come back to this. I'm gonna pin this. Let me go ahead and pin this one. I said the same thing when I looked at it, so it's kind of interesting. We'll talk. I think I know who he might be talking about. 95 old says Morgan State lets him down every year. So I saw
hey, look,
guess what? This is one of those years where people have expectations of Morgan State. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? Good to see you, Jamie Walker. J-Dub checking in. Man, prayers up for Jamie's little situation. He's dealing with a little situation back at the crib. So hopefully everything works out for the best, my brother. Mary. Okay, so Mary corrects me. Hurricane season starts June 1, Drew. So you were correct. You're
gonna learn to listen to it, brother.
Well, look, the fact that we're only in the B's and it's July, so I guess that was sort of my hesitation there. Dwayne Sweet checking in. Appreciate you for joining us. Yep, shout out to the family as well. Appreciate you being a JBN subscriber and joining the channel. Yep. All is good, James. Thank you for checking in. We're gonna do a show with Jamie coming up soon. Our ultimate HBCU road trip. Second year. We did this last year. I enjoyed the hell out of it. And so again, the parameters for that is every week you go, if you had the opportunity, unlimited cash supply to go to any game of the week, where would you go? And you can't duplicate the location. Now, you could surely duplicate the team or a team, but you cannot duplicate the location. Yeah, you only get one time to go to a location. So you can't go to
I'm talking about
twice. Well, I mean, sure, if you wanted to go.
Actually, you could catch a team 3 times, one at home, one away, one classic.
Right. You could. Yes, you could. You could. If the team was worthy. And remember, the ideal is supposed to be ultimate road trip. Like, where can I go see the best game of the week and how would I manage that? You know what I'm saying? Good to see Ken checking in. Appreciate you for coming in. A&T Roy checking in. Yeah, see, already. There we go. Trey Oliver says North Carolina Central, the best HBCU program in the country. I tell you, he keeps it fresh. He keeps it fresh going into media day. So I'm telling you, the talking season has begun. Great question, Coach Green. When will that storyline get corrected? I'm assuming he's talking about the FAMU storyline. That's the interesting thing when people publish articles, and whether it be articles, blogs, you rarely get the follow-up correction to that. Rarely happens. Even in I don't know. Give me another situation that was just wrong. Rarely do you see the comeback that, oh, we were wrong, that we were talking about blah 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 blah. Yeah, so
and if they do say, I was gonna say, if they do say it's wrong, they just kind of put out a 2-liner. We effed up and gone about our business.
Yeah, I wonder if it's even the 2-liner. It may just, I don't even, like I said, you show me where you got 2 lines. Good to see you, Lennon Blow. Thank you for coming in again. August 25th. I'll be looking for that message from you, my brother. After Norfolk State takes that L. So you can go ahead and prepare all the smoke rattlesnake and smoke snake. Hold on, speaking of that, did you see the video that I may have sent it to you, that somebody had taken an anaconda? Was it an anaconda? I don't know, it was some kind of snake, but they deep fried a snake on a grill. Did you see the video of that? Did you see that? Right.
No.
I had to, if I see it again, I don't know. Somebody, I saw it. Somebody probably tagged somebody. I saw it probably because somebody thought, oh, don't give Jackson State folks any ideas. I don't know, but the comments were hilarious. The comments when I saw the video were hilarious. Coach Green, can't wait till we start talking about SIAC women's basketball. Well, that's rare that we get people that ask that, but yep. We eventually will. I know basketball season starts October. Camps usually start in October, late September, somewhere around that time.
Yep, you're about right on that.
Yeah, Chuck saw the video. Snake on the grill. Yeah, that was crazy. I'm like, what are y'all doing? Y'all literally deep fried a snake. It was kind of disturbing. Yeah, no, that's all right, Lennon. You hold on to it. You don't have to post it. We're good. We're good. Drew may want to see it. You can tag him. Tag Drew on social media. There's his handle right there at BCSN Drew. That's where you can find us on Twitter. You say you don't want to see it, Drew?
No.
Come on.
Look, I don't. If were it not for me being a rattler, I would not like snakes.
I'm a rattler, but I have a fear of snakes. So, say that edges it. That's not going to change just because of that thing right here over my shoulder. I have a fear of that snake. And you should too, doggone it. That's why I love going to FAMU. See? Ain't nobody running around with a snake in their hand talking about, yeah, take this.
Live mascot. If FAMU ever goes to a live mascot, that would be the last game I ever go to.
No, won't be that. That's the let me see. What other mascot will we never? And I'm putting a capital N on that. We will never see a live mascot for FAMU. What other team will we never see a live mascot for? Bear? Anybody with a bear in there? I don't think we're gonna see any live bears.
This is not football, but how about Talladega, the Tornadoes?
God, yeah, we don't. Yeah, well, we were going animals, but yeah, natural
animals.
disasters. You hurricanes, tornadoes.
Get your wind machine.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Look, Derek White. Great point here. When we say disgusting for cooked snakes, someone is saying the same about cooked pigs, cows. Very true. Very true. Yeah. Again, no tigers or jaguars. So we just gonna leave out live. That's why I guess you can have a dog, right? Everybody, the dog or a buffalo. Like yeah, you can do dogs, and buffalo is probably the largest and last, mascot live animal that you've seen. You won't see anything, like that. So, okay, let's do this. Let's go ahead and take our first break and come back and talk very quickly about some of those CIAA coaches and kind of start looking at that Division II. And then coming up, we'll break down the SIAC Media Day upcoming. Also get into some news and notes. It's been outside of the North Carolina Central story, which, a couple different angles and thoughts about that, but really has been a quiet HBCU Sports Week. Yes? No? Maybe? I don't know. We'll sort through it in a moment. Coming back on the other side, you're watching the BCSN Sports Wrap right here on the Black College Sports Network. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never, ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is Brian Fulford. A.D. Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
All right, welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Brian Fulford, A.D. Drew here. I want to thank everybody for taking a moment to hit the thumbs up and the like button wherever and however you're watching us. Before we get too deep into the show, Drew, I want to just make a mention and offer our condolences and thoughts to the families that were affected by the tragic story that came out over the weekend involving 3 young men who lost their life in an automobile accident. The headline was primarily centered around Minnesota Vikings rookie cornerback Kyrie Jackson, who was one of 3 college football players who were killed in an automobile crash. And one of those young men had actually spent some time at Bowie State University. That was Anthony Lighton Jr. He played college football at Florida State and Penn State, but was on the 2023 roster of Bowie State. He was killed in the crash along with Jackson and Isaiah Hazel. Those 3 young men were involved in a 3-car crash, 3:14 in the morning on Saturday in Prince George's County, that's Maryland, according to police. Lighton and Jackson were 24 years old. Hazel was 23. All 3 of these young men played high school football together. Of course, again, Jackson was drafted in the 4th round by the Minnesota Vikings. Lighton, of course, he was an Under Armour All-American, played a pivotal role in leading Wise High School to 42 consecutive wins and 3 straight 4A state championships. He was named the 2017 Maryland Gatorade Player of the Year and DC Touchdown Club's Maryland High School Player of the Year. Lighton became the first ever Elite 22 team selection by Prince George's County coaches. On defense, he recorded 32 tackles, 3 interceptions, 10 pass breakups, and 2 forced fumbles during his senior season. Offensively, he caught 34 passes and 523 yards and 7 touchdowns. His leadership on defense contributed to Wise allowing only 7.1 points per game and achieving 6 shutouts. He started his career at Florida State and then transferred to Penn State the following year before finding his way back home to Bowie State University, where, according to the article, he did not record any statistics as a redshirt senior. This is all coming from the HBCU Game Day Newswire. And so we again offer our sympathies and condolences to friends and family of Anthony Lighton Jr., Kyrie Jackson, and Isaiah Hazel. Okay.
Man, the
Always
only thing
tough.
the only thing that I've got to add like that is I saw a video somewhere.
Oh, yeah, I saw the video too.
Oh my God, that was some of the that was the sickest
Yeah.
thing I have ever seen was that video. That car was severed in half. That is a video you do not look at around kids. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I know, you know, you're a father, obviously, but I understand what that I can imagine or empathize with that feeling when your kids go out at night. And even as young men even as young people just think they're invincible. I remember those periods. I remember those days vividly when you used to do dumb stuff. And I always used to wonder why your parents stayed up late for you, you know, to make sure you got in the house. It's
Call me when you get home.
yes.
Even when you're awake. Call me when you get home.
Yeah. They'd be like, you're gonna be asleep. It don't matter. Just call, you know. So just young men who were just about to start, you know, the next big chapter in their lives. And so don't know all the circumstances, they're irrelevant as to what they are. It's just a sad situation. So
And
find time
the only thing I say, looks like the other car is potentially at fault. Not that it makes a difference, but just based on what some of the initial reports, looks like the other car was at fault in this situation.
Yeah, I saw some various posts about that. Okay, let's talk about coaches for a minute, because, you know, I know we're going to get into talking about teams and predictions, but I think before people start making predictions, you got to understand the leadership at these schools. And so, you know, we talked about last week, you know, the as relates to the SIAC, how young that conference is. You know, your winningest coach, in terms of not career wins, but wins at their school, is actually Fort Valley State's Sean Gibbs, who in the 3 years that he's been, well, actually in the 2 seasons, because this is his third, he's 16-5 in those 2 seasons. I mean, there are a lot of coaches. I mean, obviously, Aaron James had a 7-4 first year. Quinn Gray had a 6-5 first year. But there are a lot of other coaches who are under 500 in the SIAC. But again, young group. So what we want to do is take a look at the CIAA coaches, because they range from a first-year, first-time head coach to coaches who have been there for several seasons. So let's kind of start looking at them. First off, among the CIAA head coaches, Devon Morgan, former assistant coach at Florida A&M. He took that job, about April or May?
Somewhere up in there.
Yeah, so he will be coaching at Bluefield State. This is his very first head coaching position, but he's been coaching for, I think it was like 15 or 20 years, though. And so he finally takes this opportunity. I think we were all a little surprised when the position came open. The previous coach had actually rebuilt that program, or reestablished that program, if I'm saying that correctly, right?
Right.
Okay. So we got a newbie, first year, first timer. Then there's only one coach that he's going into his second year after his inaugural season last year. That's Franklin Turner, the head coach at Lincoln, PA. Last year, Lincoln went 4-6 overall, 3-6 in conference play. So, you know, to be determined as far as what it looks like for Franklin Turner now that he's had a chance to kind of get a full recruiting cycle under his belt. Now we get into an interesting thing here as we get into third-year coaches, and I think we got 4 of them here. So there are 4 third-year coaches. You've got Kyle Jackson at Bowie State, who enters his 3rd season this fall. He's 12-8 in the last two, 10-6 in conference play. Then over at Elizabeth City State, you have Marcus Hilliard, who enters his third year, having gone 5-15 in the first 2 years, 4-10 in conference play. Two more third-year head coaches. These guys aren't newbies, so to speak. Dr. Henry Frazier III of Virginia State. His third year at Virginia State, but he is a veteran. 17th year overall. The last 2 years at Virginia State, 14-6, 11-5 in conference play. And then just in general, in his 17-year career, he has a 91-74 record. And within the CIAA, 31-18. So, you know, when people start talking about Virginia State as being a threat and a challenge, well, that's why, because they've got a proven successful head coach. Maurice Flowers of Johnson C. Smith is entering his third year, but it's his 5th overall. I'm trying to recall here. Let me see.
Fort Valley.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, previously at Fort Valley State for a couple seasons. In the 2 years at Johnson C., which I think is probably one of the best coaching jobs. When you think about where Johnson C. Smith was prior to Flowers, he's gone 9-11 and 8-8 in conference play. And I mean, you know, Johnson C. Smith was one of those teams that was
the doormat.
Yeah, a doormat for about a decade plus in the CIAA. Overall, in his 5 year, or really his 4 previous years, 16-16. So there is optimism among people for Johnson C. Smith to see what they continue to do. All right. Then we start moving into coaches who are in their 5th and 6th year. Now, put a little asterisk by these 5th and 6th year, because these 5th and 6th year and plus coaches include the COVID year. So technically, while you see Sean Gilbert of Livingstone, he will be in his 5th year. He's actually only had 3 seasons of coaching. He's been 9-20, 8-14 overall. Robert Massey, another interesting story at Winston-Salem State, going into his 6th year, but of course only 5 seasons, and he's gone quite the journey, Drew, because I think he spent a couple seasons as an interim, dealt with a couple of maybe either president or athletic director changes, maybe both, and so he's been in that role for the past 5 seasons, and you can see the overall record: 14-24. 13-16 in conference play. Now, overall, Massey's he's going into his 12th year of coaching, 11 seasons. Actually, let me back that. That's 10 seasons of coaching. Got to take out the COVID year. So overall, 30-68, 25-46 career. So who are the sort of the elder statesmen of the conference? Well, you kind of have 3 of them. 2 of them have been there their longest, but these are the elder statesmen of the CIAA. You got Dr. Alvin Parker of Virginia Union. 7th year is upcoming. All 7 years as a head coach at VUU. 40-13 in the 6 seasons. Nope, let me back that. 5 seasons. I got the COVID thing keeps messing me up. 40-13, 29-7 within the CIAA. And he's got a championship under his belt. Coach Richard Hayes Jr. of Fayetteville State. He enters his 9th year at Fayetteville State. And in 7 seasons, he's gone 49-24 with a 42-8 conference record. Then we have Coach Adrian Jones at Shaw. He's entering his 9th season. And in the 7 seasons that he has been at Shaw, 29-41, a 25-25 record. And it should be noted Shaw has been in the Southern Division of the CIAA, right there with Fayetteville State. And Dr. Parker, of course, representing Union in the Northern Division. So, Drew, when you look at these men, again, like I said, you've got 3 coaches going into their 7th plus year. 2 coaches going into their 5th. So in total, you've got 5. Half the conference has been there for now going into their 5th year or longer, right? And then you move back down. You've got the other half of the conference is sort of at their school going into just the 3rd year or younger. Any thoughts or anything you want to expound on as you kind of look at these men and their coaching records or just their coaching tenures?
Let's scroll back to those 3rd and all right, let's start right there. Bluefield just started football post-COVID.
Correct.
So they're on their 2nd coach.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a program trying to find its identity.
Gotcha.
Scroll back through those again. Lincoln, PA, never been a real big player. Hope Coach Turner can get things rolling up there. Go to the next slide. This one I find interesting. This is a great contrast. How did Kyle Jackson get his job?
Well, he was the
longtime coach,
coordinator, right?
And longtime coach Damon Wilson left a successful program for another program.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go to the next slide.
Okay. I thought you were going somewhere with that. I'm staying with you.
I am. Stay with me.
Okay.
Henry Frazier, who coached Virginia State before Henry Frazier.
Wasn't it Barlow?
Yeah, Reggie Barlow.
Okay.
And Reggie Barlow was there for a minute before he left for a better job. So keep going. Now let's be real. Were this any other conference, I don't think either one of these 2 gentlemen would have a job. Keep scrolling.
I thought you were going to add something else to that, but go ahead.
2 of these 3 gentlemen on here have done a tremendous job with their programs. Dr. Parker and Richard Hayes. Consummate people in the, Richard Hayes, I mean, the CIAA championship game may be named after him the way he's been going. Now, they may be the Buffalo Bills of the CIAA championship game, but they're always there. Keep going.
That's the end of it.
That's the end of them. Okay.
All right. I thought you were saying something, but you were saying something without saying something.
I'm saying something. Yeah, without saying something. All my CIAA folk, I need y'all to check in. Do you basketball playing schools take football as serious as SIAC or SWAC schools do? Because some of these records, despite the circumstances, because those circumstances that you guys deal with in the CIAA are prevalent throughout HBCU football, would have resulted in that 1, if not 2, coaching changes during these coaches' tenures. And this is no disrespect to the coaches. But I know if your basketball teams had these type of winning percentages, you would have made changes in the CIAA.
I can't. can't. You know what? You bring a good point up, and I think, without. Well, when you look at the SIAC and the fact that you see
Nobody's there over 4
coaches,
years.
well, they're going into their 4th year, so technically nobody's been there longer than 3 years, because this is like the 4th year for Morgan and Byron Brown, who were the two longest, who are going into the fall as the longest tenured coaches, right? Yeah, I mean, you're right. You're right. It is interesting. Some teams have been bad for a while. Some teams have been the bridesmaid. I mean, I love talking to Chris Ferguson when we get Chris to join us, because I recall many conversations we've had with Chris where we get into talking about Shaw being the bridesmaid of the Southern Division, Winston-Salem underachieving. Now that you don't have divisions to hide from, it's like if you finish second in your division, right? You could say, well, we finished second because Fayetteville State is just that good. And if we played a close game against Fayetteville State and we finished 1 or 1.5 games or 2 games behind them, but we finished second, though. You can't hide behind divisions anymore, right? So now
You finished
when
you finished second, but overall you were 5th or 6th.
Which is going to hit some people in reality this year, right? Because you're 1-11. There's no St. Aug this year, so you can't even get that win. That win is gone. So that win for everybody is gone. So you don't even get that anymore. So now you've just got, 8 of the 10 opponents, potential opponents, is who you play. And I guess, Drew, when we kind of look at everyone's schedule, we're gonna have to look and see who you don't play. When it gets down to predicting who's gonna finish where in the CIAA, we're gonna have to look at who they don't play to sort of be that parameter, or to sort of be that judge of how tough is your schedule. Because if your schedule, for example, doesn't include, I can't imagine you don't have one of the 2 Virginia schools, but so let's just say you don't have Fayetteville and Virginia Union. Whoa, you got to be looking at your schedule like, hey, this is an opportunity for us to win, I don't know, 6 games in conference, right? Because
to be in contention.
Yeah, to be in contention, because the 2 arguably predicted toughest teams are probably going to be Virginia Union and Fayetteville State. And if you don't have somebody on that schedule does not play those 2 teams, that team's got to be looking at themselves and saying, hey, we got an opportunity this year. I mean, and no discredit to Virginia State or Bowie State or Johnson C. Smith, but I don't know, if you're Shaw or if you're Winston-Salem State, aren't you kind of, I don't know, we look at the matrix, aren't you kind of excited about this season if you don't have Virginia Union and Fayetteville State on the schedule? You probably are.
I would be.
Yeah, exactly. I would be too. So yeah, we'll have to do a schedule breakdown a little bit later and kind of and see what we see here. Any other thoughts regarding the CIAA that you want to share? That's a strong take though you had earlier though.
Not right now, because I know we're gonna get into CIAA next week. Actually, we'll get into a deeper breakdown of the CIAA. But yeah, that's my one take out of the CIAA is, what will we say about these teams were these type of records percentage-wise in basketball? Would I see that the CIAA fans be making that same cry?
Gotcha. All right. Let's step away. take our second break of the day. If you haven't hit the thumbs up or the like button, do us a favor and hit that for us, if you would. When we come back on the other side, we're going to get into talking about the SIAC coming up on Media Day. Try to look at one big question for all 13. That's right. 13 members. It is 13 this year, right, Drew?
It's the last 2 years. You are correct.
All right. 13 members of the SIAC. One big question for each team. So we'll take a look at that on the other side. You're watching the BCSN Sports Wrap. Bryan and A.D. We'll be back in just a moment.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU Sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
All right. Welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Bryan and A.D. here. All right, Drew, I got to ask you a question here. Bear with me here.
Am I obligated to give you an answer?
Yes. As a member of the Black community and an HBCU, two-time HBCU graduate, you are required to help settle this debate here live on the show. You see that picture there? See those two cards? I need you to officially weigh in as a
spade midwest.
player. You have the card on the left and the card on the right. Now, the question that was posed here on Twitter. Hold on, let me give me a second. As you can see, the question proposed on Twitter, which I don't even know if my guy Nick put this on his HBCU Twitter thing, but it should have been. So we need all the spades players to tap in. Which one is the big joker? Drew, I'll start with you. Which one is the big joker?
Depends on where you're playing at.
Oh my
God! No, listen to me. And when I say where, when I moved to the South, the one on the left was the big joker because it said guarantee.
Jesus, really?
Growing up, the one on the right was the big joker. The one with the color.
I've been in the South over half of my life, thanks to coming to school down in Tallahassee. I don't think I have ever played a game with anybody that said the pitcher on the left, that says just because it says guarantee, is the big joker. I mean, the idea of
there
it
will
being
be many
called
of people who will argue that.
yes, I didn't even know those people existed until this came out, and I discovered people that I consider friends and am friendly with. I have to look at them a little bit different now because they said that thing about the guarantee being. I'm like, well, do you not play with the big the card that has the bigger joker? Maybe you don't play with that. So okay, if you don't play with that as in the spades deck, I get how the other card would be your big joker. You know, I played with people who play with the two of diamonds, big joker, little joker, two of diamonds, two of spades. Now, and then
hold on, let's stop right there. Let's stop right there. The game is called spades.
Exactly.
But why is the two of diamond bigger than the two of spades, and the game is called spades?
I have no idea. That was a weird rule when I didn't even question it at first. It just, but later on in life, I realized that being around people is like, I don't know. Right. See, I'm right there with Dimitri. I thought the guarantee was just some kind of advertisement or something. I don't know. But again, I've thought among the two jokers, the one that is literally bigger is the big joker. And see, there you go, Jeff Roberts. Deuce is wild. See that now that's the rule. Now, see, that's the thing I play with. Two of diamonds being, that wild card.
Right.
But then
once again, I know two of diamond has always been higher than two of spade. But that's kind of like, why do you drive on a parkway and park in a driveway type question?
Blue Jacket plays ace high. I don't even know what that means. What do you mean?
That means no jokers. That means no jokers.
Oh, damn. Okay. Well, okay. That's interesting. I've never learned bid whist, but anyway, I played with some decks where even though it's in color, regardless of whether it's in color or not, it's bigger than the other joker. Big joker, little joker. Big joker. Nothing about a guaranteed joker. It was big joker, little joker. That's like the easiest thing in the world to figure out. Oh, which one's the big joker? Well, there's two of them. One is big, one is little. There you go. I don't know. So, all right. So you sound like you sound like you're able to play with both, Drew. Is that what you're telling me?
I know when I'm playing, when I get there, I am good, brother.
I'm not playing with anybody that treats that little joker as the big joker. I just won't play. I'm sorry. I didn't know that was a thing to debate, but I'm not sitting down at a table with you if you're playing the little joker as I can see it if the big joker is in the deck and you're not playing with that as the big joker, I can't play with you. I can't do it. I don't understand what we're doing. We might as well play Tonk or poker or something else.
Stop. Just stop,
all right.
bro.
All right. I will. I'll stop. Let me see. It says Blue Jacket says, what? You have to really bid your hand with only 13 trump instead of 16. Is that what in case? Well, no, because you throw two cards.
If you don't play the deuces, that's what he's talking about. If you play just straight without the deuces.
But I know if you play with the big joker and little joker, you got to throw something out. Like in the like two cards you throw out, like two
of hearts, two of clubs.
Two of hearts, two of clubs, right? Which then again, like I said, you lead. That's where you get the two of diamonds in there. And I played with people that they'd be like, yeah, I mean,
I've played with some people who throw out both red twos.
All right.
I played. Long as I know the rules going in,
I'm sure. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I guess so. Yeah. You know, obviously sitting down at the table and saying, okay, how are we playing? You know, that's always
Just one rule when you're playing spades, Brian.
what's that?
Never play on a glass table.
Oh yeah, no. You can't do that. Can't do that because somebody inevitably will want to hit the table hard, and I can't be
break it.
Yeah, I can't be responsible for breaking somebody's glass table when I'm breaking this spade across your head. Boy. So okay.
You know, last thing on spade, I think that's why I learned to talk the most trash and was able to get away with talking trash around my parents.
Oh yeah,
just playing spades.
Yeah, you can get
that dominoes.
Yep,
games like that.
Yes, yeah. You can or video games. If you have a parent that plays video games or played video games, you can get stuff that you would never think of saying to your parent. You can get away with at a table with some cards or dominoes. I mean, just like some borderline disrespectful stuff that you might have to like apologize for later. As hey, we were just playing the game. I don't really think you can't pay the rent because you don't have a job or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? You really you really might come out of left field with some real foul stuff. Do you want to take a second and talk about this article that came out in the Charlotte Post regarding North Carolina Central?
Sure.
All right. There's nothing like a story popping out on July 4th. And if you would take while I'm sort of setting the scene here, go take a look on those. I saw a tweet from Sims Joshua. Take a peek. I don't know if you did already, but just kind of see if you
I hadn't seen it.
Yeah. Take a quick peek if you would. Okay, so if you haven't seen this, the headline from a story that came out on July 4th in the afternoon from the Charlotte Post, Benita Best wrote this article. The headline is "A Series of Setbacks Stall North Carolina Central Athletics." And so she starts the article by saying the 4th of July is near, but North Carolina Central football coach Trey Oliver got the fireworks started last week at Missy Lane's Assembly Room in downtown Durham. Oliver is part of the Eagles athletics tour, which many programs do around this time of year, that's visiting several cities around the state to tout the department's programs and schmooze with alumni and fans. Oliver was accompanied by women's basketball coach Terrence Baxter and volleyball coach Jody Brown. This is where Oliver already came out with the statement that, quote, "We're the top dog now. We have the best HBCU football program in college football. We're going to be better than last year. I don't want to hear about the Celebration Bowl." Okay, so I mean, he's already booking reservations to Atlanta. Of course, Howard defeated North Carolina Central last year, ruining their opportunity to repeat. The article continues. It says, but while NCCU football and basketball will almost assuredly be in the running for conference titles, the athletic department as a whole has some major challenges to overcome. Akua Matherson, the North Carolina Central Chief Financial Officer and Vice Chancellor for Administration and Finance, reported at last week's Board of Trustees meeting that the athletics department is running in the red, and we're not talking pennies and nickels. Noting that one of the culprits is a 10-year sponsorship deal between the department and Peak Sports, a multi-marketing company based in Texas that was hatched in 2020 under a previous administration. The sponsorship looked good on paper. Peak Sports would manage and sell sponsorship inventory for the department, from signage to digital content to sporting events. The Eagles would be guaranteed a specific amount. The partnership guarantees Peak 40% of all corporate sponsorships it sells for North Carolina Central Athletics. And she states, get this, that NCCU sells on its own. So whichever way the money flows in, Peak Sports gets a 40% cut. And again, this was a 10-year contract that was signed, and you've got 7 years left on it. There's also a $500,000 settlement. Let's start there. Let's start there, because that's two different things. Peak Sports is the marketing agency that drew Florida A&M followers, alumni. We're very familiar with that name because in 2020, they too signed a contract with Florida A&M University's athletic department under the previous administration, former AD Courtney Gaucher, who's now an associate AD at Nebraska.
Also, doesn't Peak have Grambling under contract right now?
I believe they did. They may still. But so originally so the idea behind Peak was to be able to sort of be a bridge, because they do work with other entities. You know, they work with other schools coming in. I remember specifically coming into that deal back in 2020. They are working with other schools, schools at various locations around the country. I'm just looking at the list of names here. They apparently have a deal with Albany State, Alabama State. I'm just scrolling through HBCUs, and Central State, right? According to, I believe that's Roy chiming in, that Peak had 9 of 12 HBCUs under contract at one point in time. Okay, so but ideally their role is to go out and get merchandising. Remember the big fuss? Remember when the race car thing happened, right? The NASCAR, there was a black-owned NASCAR, and we saw the Grambling logo, and then we even saw the Florida A&M. This was at the start of the NASCAR season. I think it was in 2021?
21, I believe. Maybe 22.
Yeah, right. They opened the year with a Grambling logo, and then I think Florida A&M was the next week. And I remember we even talked to the gentleman who owns that racing company, right?
Yes.
Peak Sports was the company that helped facilitate that. Yeah, they kind of helped broker that. And the idea behind them was to be able to sort of, they already have these relationships. And so to be able to help put schools into rooms that they themselves weren't already getting into, because as we are quite aware, Drew, many HBCU athletic departments don't have dedicated staff people that sole priority is to go out and get corporate sponsors. You know, it's like Peak is doing a job for you that you could be doing on your own, but maybe they've been doing it longer, or they've already established relationships with other schools, right?
Correct.
So, you know, the 40% thing, you know, is that, you know, if it wasn't 40%, it would be, and look, everybody's got to charge something for their services, right?
But that is, Brian, if I gave you a credit card and told you was going to pay 40% interest on that credit card.
I don't like that. I know where you're going. I don't think that's a good parallel. Here's why. You don't have anything.
Same thing with a credit card.
Well, The difference is I have to pay that money back. You don't have to pay money back for a sponsorship deal.
I will give you this, Bryan. You teach now, but you've been in private business. You've worked for companies, corporations. Name, outside of an attorney, name a profession where you guarantee 40% profit. And attorneys normally only take a third.
But okay, if you're doing all the work, now I get it. The schools, the brand is
40.
sell.
Let me back this up. 40% of what you do, I could kind of go for that. But if I'm doing the work,
but you're not,
I have to. No, but they also get 40% of what Central sells.
Okay. Now we may be talking about something. Now
that's where I have my problem.
Okay, and that's fair. That's understandable. But you also got to say that if this isn't quite a 50-50 relationship.
But you get 40% of everything when it comes to marketing and advertising, corporate sponsorships. So if I go out, Bryan, okay, you went out, you brokered that NASCAR deal. Fine. I got you. You are good with that. But let's just say I have a local Pepsi or Coca-Cola bottler in my community. And I or someone from my athletic department brokers that deal. You get 40% of that. I went out and did the leg work. Our university gas, us paying for the lunches and the dinners to wine you and dine you. So not only have I probably spent money to get this sponsorship, because let's be real, y'all, it takes money, it takes a level of wining and dining to get people to agree to be partnership. They just don't do it on a one page. But then you get 40% of my hard work. I not only do I have a problem with this, and I may be off base, but the fact that for a contract at a Division I university, let's start off with it. Athletic director had to sign this, had to agree to this contract, had to probably give a recommendation. The marketing department should be involved in this because they're the ones who have to give the proper logos, proper color palettes, all that stuff that goes along with marketing.
Which marketing department?
The university marketing department has to be involved. The university marketing department has to be involved in something like that. Anytime that you sell or give authorization to use your school's likeness or logo, you automatically bring in what I call the other side of the house. Because your university, not only does each university have its own logo, it has an athletic logo also.
Right. And all that's already worked on with Pete. Pete, when Pete comes in, yes, they're already in. They've already gotten the approvals and they've gotten all of the
exactly. Somebody in the marketing department
is aware and help. Yes,
because they're the ones who have to give them all of the proper whatever.
Right.
You know how many color greens do we have?
I got you. But hold on. You get to your point because I'm going to tell you why you're off base a little bit. But go ahead.
Okay. Then someone from the legal department should be reviewing
They
the
do.
the university attorney.
They do have to review the contracts.
Right.
Yes.
Probably someone not only from your athletic business affairs person, but your university business affairs person should be reviewing this. This is all before it gets to the president, because in most instances, none of these contracts are valid without the president's decision. And in some states, in some circumstances, depending on the size of the contract, it may have to go to your board for a final approval, just depending on the situation. So you're talking multiple layers in here where,
but they did.
And somebody had to ask the question. I'm hoping somebody asked the question. But the thing is, if somebody did ask the question, there were more voices who talked that one person out of or were louder in the room.
Okay.
That portion of the deal is, I don't care how you frame it, Brian.
I'm gonna tell you what you're all missing. You're all missing.
Talk to me.
You haven't been doing this. You have nothing. You have done nothing. Hold on, stop. If you all you have is the name, the inventory of games, events, places that people will put eyes. I have the advertising relationships. I have the advertisers who want to spend money. So, in that respect, you come. Hold on, no, stop. Let me finish. You are getting 60% of every deal that comes in. Why? Because it's greater than 50% because you are the entity.
I have no problem with it.
If you were bringing stuff in, Drew, you would have been doing it, but you're not. See, this is where Pete gets off because you don't have a dedicated person. You don't have a dedicated person to go and do these marketing deals, or you would have done them, and you don't need peak sports management, Drew. That's the point I'm trying to get at. So this whole thing about you bringing in money, you're not bringing.
I have no problem with what Peak is doing to bring in the money. I have the problem with you taking my money that I bring in.
It's a partnership,
and
Drew.
I have to pay
because you know why? Because Drew, you know what? You know what this sounds like, Brian. When you bring in this company, Drew, when you bring in this random company that you got, you're going to want to fit them into the inventory of advertising and all the other stuff that Pete does. You're not just gonna bring them in the room and say, "Oh, hey, we got this deal from Joe Smith Automotive. They want to spend $400,000 in a year." Pete you didn't have anything to do with that. But guess what? Joe Smith Automotive, we want their logo, we want all the stuff. We want this put into the inventory of things that you have in the places that you're overseeing. So you see now, guess what? Now you have to involve Pete, Drew. You're giving this company that you brought in, you're giving them over to Peak and saying, because Peak is the one who manages your marketing and sponsorship deals, you're giving it to them saying, we want you to work just like any other company. And so that's where the 40% comes in, Drew, because you're bringing in this company, Drew. You're not gonna manage it. You're not managing it.
What?
Drew, that's the relationship deal. That's the partnership. It's not 50-50, but 60-40 is part of the relationship deal.
Of my work.
It's our work. Our work,
no.
Drew.
Right.
Our work. See, you're thinking of it wrong. Our work.
Right. That's like me going out and running the 100 and you taking the doggone medal home.
If I got us off the blocks with a fast start, hell yes, you're giving me the medal.
No, that's if we run in a relay. But all you did was hold my blocks. All you did was hold my block.
No, that's not. That's horrible. That's horrible. That's horrible.
And you the one wearing it around your neck.
I like the analogy of a relay, though. A relay race would be there you go. Will Davis. Thank you. That's the relationship and the partnership. Because again, what I'm trying to get you to see, Drew, is yes, it's your deal. The automotive example. That's your deal. You brought him in. You got the relationship. Great, AD Drew. But guess what? Are you going to manage that account? No, because you have other things that you're responsible for.
I didn't say Peak don't deserve, if they're managing the account, I didn't say they don't deserve something.
Well, you know, once you start, Drew, once you start micromanaging what comes in, whether it be from you or from Peak, now we start getting into, you know, who does Peak put priority over? Let's keep it real. If Peak is only getting 20%, then and you're not managing it, oh well, guess who's getting priority? The accounts that I brought in that we're getting 40% on. I'm sorry, that's how you know.
Brother Davis, I've been watching your chats in there. It sounds like you've got you might have a little bit of knowledge on this that Bryan and myself don't understand both ways. At me on Twitter, BCSN Drew, or at Bryan DRB365. I would love to have a conversation with you at some point in time.
Here's a good question. Somebody asked about legal earlier, right? They're like, no way legal approved this. Yes, way legal approved it.
You know what legal looks at? All legal looks at is does from a legal point, do the terms make sense? They don't look at the dollars and cents of it. Or the I's dotted and the T's crossed. Right. That's all legal is looking at.
Risk and liability towards the university. Is there any risk or liability terms or things that the university needs to be?
If we get sued, where are we at on that chain, on that food chain?
Yeah, exactly. If something goes wrong. So Russell Hayes asked, how come HBCU signed the contract, then complain about the paperwork later? Don't understand. Look. People that same statement can also be said to television rights contracts. Again,
I was just thinking that
you weren't anywhere. Your games weren't being shown anywhere, and you get a platform where your games are being shown. But now, because you have overestimated the value, not you, people in this talking space, because people in the talking space have overestimated the value of your product, well, now you think you deserve more, but the market doesn't say that. So either you sign this deal or you go elsewhere. But what's the objective? Is the objective to have your games available for people to see?
Yeah.
Just asking the questions.
Let's get back to this. One more thing before we go on to the rest of that article.
Yeah.
I wonder if the reason that Central is balking at this Peak deal is because the net out of this has been the same or less as if they would have done it themselves. Because the only reason you bring in someone like a Peak Sports Management, if I'm bringing in $100,000 in ad revenue, I'm just going to use an arbitrary number of 100 this year. You know, I should be bringing in 125 the next year, 150 a year after that, 200 a couple of years after that. It should be a net positive. Is Central complaining because it's a net zero or a net negative? I wonder if that's really what's going on here.
To answer the question, why if the agreement is so good, who's saying that the agreement is, again, you had 60%. Let's go here. This is what you had Now you got 60.
But like I say, Brian, 60
zero.
What,
you had
no,
zero
let's value it. Don't say they had zero because they had something. That's why I use that 100,000.
So 100,000. Now you got $60,000 that you did not have previously.
No, but if I was bringing in 100,
but you weren't,
and maybe
you weren't.
No,
stop it.
I
I
was bringing in 100 already.
No, you
on
weren't.
my own.
No, you weren't. No, you weren't. Not from. If
I was bringing in 100 from from corporate sponsorships, if before I signed this deal, I was bringing in 100 from corporate sponsorships.
Okay.
Has Peak increased my value of my corporate sponsorships? That's the question that I am asking. I have gone from 100 to what? If I have gone from 100 to 75, I have a problem. Because that means I am paying you.
That means you lost. That means you lost something.
Exactly, because you're taking 40%. So that means I've lost. That means you have not added any value. Now, if I've gone from 100 to 150, then you have brought me value despite the fact that I am giving you 40% of what I was already doing. That's what needs to be investigated.
Well,
that's the question that needs to be asked. What has been the net of the Peak deal? And pure speculation.
Right.
If Central is balking at the Peak deal, it's because the net has been zero or a net negative.
Right. That whatever they thought that would be. Right. I mean, what you're saying is, if you thought we would be generating revenue and we're not, well, you're looking at them saying, why aren't we generating revenue? What aren't we doing? Why is there no money coming in? We thought
in that line item.
Yeah.
Or is it that what we've had budgeted, you're supposed to bring in 250 this year. You're only bringing in 150. Is that the problem? There are a couple of issues with this that need to be further questioned. It's not that the 40%. I think it's the dollar amount is where it's starting to get where the questions come in at. We're not bringing in what we're budgeted, or we're not bringing in what we used to be bringing in.
Athletic director Skip Perkins, who is, according to, I don't know how long he's been on the job, sounds like maybe within the past year. He said in the article, quote, "We have met with legal counsel multiple times to try to find a way to get out of this contract. The guy is not going to let us out." The guy being the president, Ryan Holloway. Now, what's interesting about that, you know who they should go ask if they want to get out of it? They should go ask FAMU. Because FAMU got dropped by Peak, literally. And we were told this via Vaughn Wilson on our show on the ONG Strike Zone, that Peak actually dropped FAMU for breach of contract. Now, I don't know. That doesn't sound like a good thing, because it sounds like there might be some legal things that are going on there. But yeah, so I don't know if you want to go down that road, North Carolina Central. Be careful, because obviously there is a risk when you breach your contract. There are penalties that comes with that, right? But
sometimes it's cheaper to go ahead and cut your losses, even with the penalties.
Right. But again, I would say this to A.D. Perkins. If you get out of Peak Sports, what do you have in place to supplement what they are supposed to be doing for you? I remember when I was at FAMU, they had a marketing person, actually somebody I consider a mentor. I enjoyed, kind of working
athletic marketing.
Athletic marketing. It was athletic. The athletic department had its own marketing department, and they were in charge of, at that time, it was called the Rattler Sports Network, and also doing other things. Working with, it was someone who had a marketing background, marketing degree, and that's what they did. Their job was to, work with advertisers, and so as athletic budgets are, does every athletic department have its own independent athletic marketing department?
Most do not.
Most do not. So this is why you have relationships and contracts with companies like Peak Sports Management. And what's interesting is Peak even puts people, like dedicated people. It's not like this is just some random. So like when Peak comes in, they actually have an account rep who's there. He's within the athletic department. You can go look at the Alabama State website. They will have somebody there. Matter of fact,
they're hiring for one
on their website. Yeah, exactly. Peak has it on their website. If I go and look on the website right now, Albany State, they have somebody who they call a general manager. Is to be determined. Haven't been hired yet. Alabama State, they have a general manager and an account executive. So they have two people that are working for Peak on behalf of the university. FAMU had that when they had their relationship with Peak. Yeah, so it just I guess the other part of this article mentions about North Carolina Central being involved in a $500,000 settlement with Duke Health, in which student athletes have two types of insurance policies, according to the gentleman, the chief financial officer and vice chancellor. One is a policy that athletes carry themselves. Then the university carries a secondary policy on each student athlete. A department employee is responsible for filing any necessary claims. For several years under the previous administration, the person didn't file the secondary insurance paperwork on the athlete. It says many of them from the defunct baseball program, which may I remind you again, never won a MEAC championship, but had the third highest number of scholarships behind football and men's basketball. So that part's coming from Matherson. That's kind of a interesting dig at the baseball program, right? Quote from A.D. Perkins: the gentleman in charge of sports medicine at the time did not file the secondary insurance. It is paperwork, but I guess he thought that was not part of his job. He's no longer here. So Matherson said the $500,000 settlement with Duke Health was a gift because the total amount was much higher. Yeah, exactly. Try again. An unnecessary dig, right? And then there's a third culprit in this about travel expenses. This is rich right here. Watch this. Coaches were given travel cards for recruiting. What do you think happened with that, Drew? And then it says bad idea.
One of Louisville things.
Hey, bad idea.
Louisville basketball.
Yeah, hopefully it wasn't that. Apparently, coaches, and this is a quote, we had people continuing to charge without recognizing that there's a budget. Well, no S. If you don't tell them that they have a budget, guess what? I'm spending. We pulled all that back and just reinstated the AD and associate AD to manage the card. So basically, imagine, Drew, you have 14, 15 sports. Everybody has a travel card. That's a recipe for disaster. So yeah, they encourage.
Not if managed right, though, Brian. Not if managed right.
Not if you're right. Not if managed right, and if it's like giving a teenager a credit card instead of a debit card. It's like you only have some. It took me long to understand how a debit card works, right? Credit cards, which is like we signed up for credit cards at FAMU because they gave you a T-shirt and a bottle, and then said, "Oh, here's $200." I'm like, "What? $200? Oh, yeah."
Which was a lot back then.
Hey, that was a lot. You can order a lot of Gumbies and wings and all that kind of stuff with a credit card. Stuff that you don't really need, right? Yeah, sure, you got to pay it back. But a debit card, though, when my dad explained me that a debit card is money that you have in your account and that's all you can spend, I was like, I don't like that. I don't like the sound of that debit card because I don't have no money. I don't have any money in my account. It's like, well, you can't spend anything then.
It's just like writing a check.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, see, a check, you know, that a check is like,
write it on Friday, go cover it on Monday.
yeah, see, unless you run into a place that wants to cash it a day early, you know, that wants to take it to your bank. Oh, don't take it to my bank.
Oh, come on, now, back in the day, right? You write it Friday after 2, and you actually had it till Tuesday if you wrote it Friday after 2.
Hey, look, stop it. See, if you know, you know. We're telling on ourselves right now, Drew. We're telling ourselves. So anyway, all in all, Drew, yeah, float time. Yes, I you learn that quickly too. When you're a poor college student, man, you learn all kinds of stuff. But problem is the consequences. What they don't understand is that, and that's one of those things where I'm teaching an econ class this year. I can't wait to be able to tell young people about consequences with your finances. The things that you think you have, you really don't have. And the number one rule is if you don't physically have it, you don't have it. Let me say that again, right, Drew? Right? Tangible assets, things you can see. If you technically don't have the money in your account, you don't have it. All this credit stuff, man, please. So I can't wait to teach econ to some high school students this upcoming fall. Yeah, life lessons.
They won't have a clue.
They don't have a clue. Yeah, in one ear and out the other. Hopefully one kid will remember it and hopefully it'll help him. The rest of them, good luck. God bless you.
Because you know what they're going to say? Mama, cash at me or Zelle me.
Yeah.
Apple Pay, Google Pay, something.
Hey, sometimes parents say no, Drew. They do. I remember those days. Hard lessons. Let's take a short break and let's actually finally get into talking about the SIAC, which is coming up pretty soon here. Take a short break. We'll be back. You're watching the BCSN Sports Wrap right here on the Black College Sports Network.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
Looking for the latest information on Southern University Sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU Athletics, there's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
All right. Welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap, Bryan and A.D. Before we move forward and we move past the conversation that we were just having in the last segment, We're gonna bring in.
I'm scared of this conversation, Brian.
We the
You
CEO.
know, when you get called into the CEO's office,
live during the show.
Not that I've been there before. Anytime you get called into the office, if human resources and security are there, along with your supervisor,
not a good
go ahead and get the white paper. Go ahead and get the paper boxes and file boxes, because you're gonna be cleaning out your office. I hope that's not one of them conversations.
Well, without further ado, let's bring in the CEO of the president, CEO of Jericho Broadcast Networks and the Black College Sports Network, Roy Evans. Roy, what up, boss?
Hey, man, how you guys doing?
Hey, we're good. We're good. Thanks for joining the show. What's on your mind? We were just having a nice little conversation regarding the news story regarding North Carolina Central. What do you want to add in?
I was listening to you guys. I was on the road and was listening in on the conversation. I think there are a couple of things that people need to take into consideration when you're looking at this relationship as it relates to with Pete Sports. And just to kind of qualify some of this, under Mr. Nelson Townsend at FAMU, I actually revitalized the Rattler Sports Network. So I was actually working in the same capacity and doing the things that Peak Sports was supposed to be doing with the deals that they had with the different universities. And that is where the questions should start to be asked. Because what was happening is that they were supposed to be in charge of creating the media, several of the media entities outside, anything outside of games. They were actually supposed to be creating those events and those properties and then going out and selling them. So, Drew, that's the part of it where hold on. I'm gonna come back to you. That's the part of it where they said why they were saying that we would still get 40% if you went out and sold it, because they were the ones responsible for creating those deals. That's what they should have been doing, because that's what the deals were with some of the other schools that they had. That's how some of the deals work. So I'd definitely be interested in seeing how that works out. Now, the key. Now,
define creating properties before you go any further. You say creating properties outside of the deal.
You didn't have a coach's show. You didn't have a coach's show prior to Pete coming in, and they started a coach's show.
Thank you.
Yeah, things of that nature, doing in different pieces. And see, the other part of that is that Peak also had deals with different radio stations in places across the country. And so they were putting these properties from these different HBCUs into different markets. Now, how do we know this? How do I know some of this? Because we got approached about doing some of the stuff because we were engaged in that whole situation that happened with FAMU somewhat. And all of it was centered around what was happening with Peak Sports and how they were handling their different aspects with the different schools. And so that was the situation that kind of came in. So with the NCCU deal, that's what I would be curious to see what the difference was between some of the other contracts that they had, because I'm pretty sure they were pretty standard from the understanding that I had of them. And that's why, like Brian talked about the different positions they had open, they were literally hiring people to do that. They were bringing people on to do those things at each of the universities that they were working with. And that was part of it. And, it's funny because, again, these are things that we were doing with the Rattler Sports Network years ago. Like, one of the duties that I had when I was working under Mr. Townsend for the Rattler Sports Network was that I had to go get radio stations. When I came on, they had 2 radio stations, one out of Gainesville and 96.1, I believe it was, in Tallahassee. When I left, they had 12 radio stations that were all under 6-year contracts that they were doing. So the Rattler Sports Network then continued to move on even after my tenure with them were gone. So those are the types of things that a group like Peak is supposed to be doing. They're supposed to be establishing those long-term relationships, sort of like Brian was saying, also putting you in spaces that you weren't before because of their other partnerships that they have, not just with other schools, but with other corporate entities that could then benefit the university, and they could come in and get the advertising and all those different types of things. Because believe it, whether you want to believe it or not, the HBCUs, and I've said this to people, and I don't understand why people don't believe it, have the highest revenue potential once you go beyond the Power 5 conferences. When it comes to athletics, HBCUs are the second tier of revenue generating possibilities outside of the Power 5. And maybe the top 10% of the group of 5, but the majority of these other schools do not have the revenue generating potential that HBCUs have. We just have to understand that and utilize the talent and the folks that we have in our spaces to do that. And so, the question is, and I heard the last part of it that you guys talked about, that I think is really the question. The difference is, one, we have to find out, there are a couple of questions we have to ask. Did Peak Sports front any money to purchase the media rights? Or are the media rights just based on what they bring in? So those are the two first main questions, because ultimately your relationship with a group like Peak it should start at a net zero. It costs you nothing because you're already doing the things. You're already playing the games. You're doing that. Then the question is, who's handling the production for those games that Peak is now is marketing for? Is the school responsible for that? Because if the school is responsible for that, that's where Drew's aspect of it comes in. Because now I have to add that cost to my budget, because now I have to do that. Or like we do, we come in and we do our production. We come in and handle the production, and then we go out, we do sales, and we do that part of it from our stuff. That's how we run it at the Black College Sports Network, but that's not what everybody else does. A lot of times these people will front money, or again, they have these relationships and they know that they can get it from people. So I think those are the things that the NCCU folks need to really ask and try to find out. And anybody else who's still with Peak, look at your school's agreement. Find out what are the deliverables. That's the first part. That's the second part. What are the deliverables? What are they supposed to do besides sale? If they don't have it, if all they're doing is selling for you, then that means that you're creating all of the other content and things of that nature. And so if you weren't doing it before, as stated, it's going to be another cost. So, those are the things you just got to really pay attention to when you're talking about sports networks and broadcast rights and the ability to do things. That's one of the reasons, and this is the last part I'll say it to it, that's kind of interesting, and it's going to be really interesting to see how some of these things work, because audio rights are normally separate. I talk about the fact all the time that Tuskegee is, I think somebody told me there's Tuskegee and Alcorn. Tuskegee and Alcorn have to literally be the only two universities that I know who exercise their right to do audio broadcast of their sports.
I think Grambling does
every
too.
level.
I think Grambling does.
Santoria travels?
Used to. I know. Okay. I don't know about anymore, but I know he did.
No, we know that Charles Edmond travels for Alcorn, and we know that Frank Lee and Charles Ward travel for Tuskegee, and all the other sports. So they do it, and it's like we've tried to talk to people. Why aren't you utilizing that? They have to provide you space for that. So
basically.
So did that answer any of your questions?
Oh yeah. I mean, it answered questions, but it still leaves a bunch of questions unanswered, and that's probably not only for me, but a lot of the people out there. Like I said, my biggest question that I had after all that is, where did we start at? And has this been a net zero or a net negative, or are we talking about it's a positive, but we're not generating what we had budgeted and what we had expected at this particular point in time? They are what, 3 years into that deal? So at 3 years, we're supposed to be getting X, and we're not getting X. We're getting more than we had, but we're not getting X, which ultimately affects your budget, because those are revenues that you expect to have in every year.
Well, again, and that's why I said that's the question. The first question you have to ask.
No, I mean, but like you say, you talked about the deliverables and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I think that's where you have to start at. Where are we talking about as far as the revenue goes? And then you have to get into the analysis of why are we not there? Is it something on our part? Is it something on your part? Is it something on miscommunication? Is it just the lay of the market right now? You know, that's just like trying to go out and find a house to rent right now. Good luck trying to find a house to rent within a budget. It's just the market right now. So there are many different factors, but you have to start with the revenue. Where are we at in relation to the revenue that we're supposed to be getting in relation to that 40%, 60%, or whatever the percentage is that you guys are taking? Because ultimately, Roy, when it's all said and done, if it doesn't make dollars, it don't make sense.
I hear you. Well, you guys are doing a great job, so I'm going to let y'all get back on to work here. And,
all right, boss.
Take care.
All right.
When the bonus coming anytime soon?
I know. I went ahead and got rid of him. That way. I don't think he can find the. I don't think he can find the button fast enough to get out of it. Drew, it's funny. All righty.
Oh man, I was hoping to get him on air, Brian. I was supposed to get him on air.
I know, right?
Let's get to this SIAC.
Okay. Drew has broken down the strength of schedule for the conference. Again, 13 teams. Now, these are based on, I'm assuming you mean 2023
records, yes.
All right. And this is home and away. So
this is based on how these teams finish. Everybody on your schedule, conference games only. How did they finish last year? Let me refresh that, Brian, so that it
So I think what'll always be interesting is kind of saying who will be the considerable favorites. You know, who will teams be gravitating towards this upcoming year? And I think the three. I'm gonna just go off here, and I'm gonna say, well, again, let's not forget last year in the SIAC, you had 4 teams that finished 6-2: Fort Valley State, Miles, Tuskegee, Albany State, all finished 6-2 in conference. Overall record separated by 2 games, with Fort Valley finishing 8-3, Albany State finishing 6-5. So when you look at this, I'm gonna start down at the bottom, and when I look and see a team that will be a favorite with the easiest strength of schedule being Tuskegee, I think that's significant.
I think it is too.
I'm curious as to why that is. I got to go look at their schedule here. Why is their schedule the way it is? Is it because of
Tuskegee only plays 2 conference opponents who were above 500 last year?
Right.
Miles and Edward Waters. And you had one opponent right at 500, that being Central State.
So in short, they don't play Albany State. They don't play
Fort Valley. They don't play Benedict.
They don't play Benedict.
They don't play Allen.
Don't play Allen. Yeah. So I mean that's pretty significant. That's pretty significant. So when we talk about teams and predicted, when you get to the who will be the predicted number 1 or 2 team, I would not be surprised to see Tuskegee as the predicted team to finish either first or second in the SIAC. Again, starting from the bottom again, I think it is. Fort Valley State is one of those teams that I am high on. Like, I think Fort Valley State, just because what we've seen from Sean Gibbs over the last 2 years, I think they're, and them being tied with Benedict for having the third easiest schedule based on records from last year. I think that helps validate a lot of my thoughts about them. Now, the end of the season is probably the toughest stretch for Fort Valley State because they play Benedict and Albany State at the end of the season. So, I think if they don't trip over themselves in that first game against Clark Atlanta, then they get into a stretch going into November where they could theoretically be unbeaten in conference play going into the last 2 weeks of the season. To Edwin Moore, to answer your question, no, this is the second year where the SIAC does not do division scheduling. So remember, there's no, what was it, East and West? Is that how the SIAC used to be divided up?
Yes, SIAC was East-West.
So there is no East and West. It's just best records, top 2 records go to the SIAC championship game.
Championship game, correct. And also, Brian, for the second consecutive year, Tuskegee has the easiest strength of schedule.
For the second consecutive year, huh?
Yes.
Ooh, there's going to be some people not too happy about that. Trying to figure out how that happened. Yeah, that'll be interesting. So Blue Jacket for Life explains how the scheduling goes. You have 4 permanent opponents and rotate the other 4 every 2 years. So that may be why Tuskegee is in their schedule, is because those 4 opponents, this is the second year of those 4 opponents. What do you think about the scheduling, doing it that way, Drew?
Well, that's everybody. Everybody has their permanent locks, and then they have their 4 that they rotate within, and it's going to balance out over the years. You're in year 2, I believe, of this cycle for Tuskegee. So pretty much last year's schedule is this year's schedule once again.
The permanent locks can also be challenging, don't you think? Because based on who your permanent 4 are, and I guess we won't. I don't know if it's necessarily
at one point in time,
we won't know until next year. We won't know until next year's schedule.
Actually, it was published at one point in time.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Like, and I'll take Tuskegee for instance. Tuskegee's 4 permanent are Morehouse, Miles. I can't remember the other 2, but I know Morehouse and Miles are 2 of the 4 permanent people on Tuskegee's schedule. It's Morehouse, Miles, I believe, Kentucky State, and Lang, I believe, are their 4 permanent locks.
Okay, probably a few rivals, I'm sure.
Yeah, 2 of them are rivals.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Anything else to add? Any other thing that catches you of note regarding? I think Edward Waters, challenging for Edward Waters again. I think Edward Waters. I think there's a lot of people interested to see Edward Waters. See if they can. They've been going in this direction. They've been going upwards, trending up each of the last 3 seasons. Does the schedule make it challenging for them to do that again? Again,
I've got one for you. Central State finished 500 last year. They have a relatively easy schedule. Does Central State become this year's Edward Waters or Allen?
Why do you say that? Central State has Albany State, Miles, Tuskegee, and I'm adding Clark into the mix because again, I'm expecting Clark
this
to be a
this is just based on last year's record. We have this is the only thing we can base this on.
Yeah, well,
Central State has the second easiest schedule based on last year's record.
I don't know. Only because I think the Clark schedule skews that because they were winless.
But at the same time, Allen
wasn't winless last year.
No, but you've got an Allen team who's expected to come down.
Okay.
Just like Clark is expected to go up, Allen is predicted to come down.
Okay. That's fair.
So it's going to be a wash. You got Clark. Poor Morehouse.
Well,
Morehouse.
Yeah, Morehouse has got a tough one, man. Yeah, they catch all the strays this year. Here's their last 4 games: at Albany State, home for homecoming against Fort Valley State, then traveling to Miles, and then of course hosting Clark Atlanta.
And before Albany State,
right? They got a bye week. Preceding the bye week, they finished with Tuskegee and Benedict. So talk about a brutal.
Talk about a whoop.
I'm talking when you get into the last week of September, again, this is the end of Morehouse. Like Morehouse has a very small window to try to figure it out, but they've even got some tough non-conference games. But then they get into September 28th, home against Benedict. Then they have the Morehouse Tuskegee Classic. Then they have a bye. Then they're at Albany, home to Fort Valley, at Miles, home to Clark. I mean, ooh. Yeah, who has pity for Morehouse? I don't know.
Edward Moore, you're wrong for that. I just want you to know.
Oh,
you're wrong for that.
Wow. Okay. I know it's getting kind of late. Did you have any other slides that you wanted to go through there?
No, that was the only slide that I had for the SIAC. I'm going to save my predictions for Wednesday while we're at Media Day.
Okay.
Especially because I did my predictions before I actually did this strength of schedule.
Okay.
So now I need to go back and look at it.
All right. Well, I thought we would I don't know, it's kind of late. I thought we would get a chance to get in. I didn't think we'd go as long as we did in the talking about the North Carolina Central stuff. We talked about one big question, but I think we'll table that and try to redo that segment a little bit better when it gets into next week because we got the SWAC and the CIAA. But obviously, you have conversations I'm sure that you guys will have Tuesday live from the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta, Georgia, SIAC Media Day. Make sure to tune in to the Black College Sports Network. We'll have live coverage, live interviews with coaches and players, and we'll kind of we'll find out who the SIDs and the coaches select as the top teams for the upcoming season. What else, Drew? Any other let me see. I'm trying to think this upcoming week.
Yeah, I got two things I want to get out before we get into it. Two stories, and I'll be brief with these. 2 coaching hires that I wanted to make a note of, Ryan. First one is from Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Logan Stout has been named head coach at the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff. And he was named on Wednesday.
Head coach of what?
Logan? Baseball, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Baseball head coach. Logan's beginning his first season in Arkansas Pine Bluff, bringing a wealth of experience from the baseball world. With his strong work ethic, he aims to build the program into an HBCU powerhouse and help students, athletes become better leaders on and off of the field. Logan Stout is an accomplished entrepreneur, keynote speaker, best-selling author, founder of the Dallas Pilots. Logan has over 2,500 wins as a head coach and 27 World Series national titles, ranging from Perfect Game, USA Baseball National Championships, and many others. Logan has had over 200 MLB draft picks, and thousands of college players come through his program. Some notable alumni in the big leagues include Josh Spear, Trevor Story, AJ Minter, and many others. So just kind of going over his accolade. Logan coached at Dallas Baptist University and has served as an associate scout in Major League Baseball for over 21 years. So that's one coaching hire that occurred this week. And another coaching hire.
Edwin's asking, Drew, you said, is it Dallas Pilots or Dallas Patriots?
I believe it said Pilots. I just clicked off of the article. That was courtesy of HBCU Game Day. I don't know if you can bring it up off the script, Brian, because I had moved on to this second article that's taking forever to load.
All right, go ahead.
I thought it said Pilots.
I'll take a peek. Go ahead, keep going.
No, I'm still waiting on this other article to load on another coaching hire.
Is this the Murray one?
It's the top one on the script.
Top one on the script. Okay. I got it. Let's see. HBCU names Texas entrepreneur MLB scout for next baseball head coach.
Yeah, skip down about a third of the way. I may have misspoken the team's name that he used to coach up under the advertisement.
It's the Dallas Patriots.
Okay,
So
I
it's
said
the
it wrong.
Patriots.
I said it
Yes.
incorrectly. Thank you guys for correcting me on that.
Yeah. Well, it is kind of interesting that he's an entrepreneur. So this is somebody that I have a feeling is coming in. We're just talking about finances with money or connections to money. We talked about some of the resource, or if you recall, some of the resource issues that Coach Carlos James brought up. This would seem like a logical move for a program that doesn't have a lot. Like, you know, basically you come to the table, kill your own food, and you can put it on the grill, because we don't have the ability right now to go hunt. And so I'm assuming, based off his background, you know, having started multiple companies that have generated over $3.5 billion of revenue, damn, that's huge.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Good luck to
yes, he is, Edwin. According to the picture, yes, he is, Edwin.
Yes, he is. Yes.
Yes.
He does not look like you or me.
Right. All right. Other coaching hire, Arkansas Pine Bluff women's basketball coach Erica Leak announced the addition of Freddie Murray as a Golden Lions new associate head coach. Murray, who has a 20-plus year career in coaching college basketball and HBCU and the SWAC, brings a unique resume to UAPB. See, Murray joins the Golden Lions after serving as an assistant coach at Alabama A&M for 1 year. Before Huntsville, Murray spent 8 transformative years at Grambling State University, where he held the position of head coach for the Tigers. So just another coaching hire as assistant coach. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but just thought we'd want to get those 2 hires out the way, Brian.
There's an interesting article on HBCU Game Day by Tali Carr about a Grambling State University student athlete who's suing the NCAA, Brenda McKinney, who filed a class action lawsuit in 2023 claiming discrimination. I'll just read the first part of it, encourage you guys to go check it out on hbcugameday.com. Tali writes, Grambling University women's basketball player Brenda McKinney is on the verge of a deposition stemming from a federal class action lawsuit she filed against the NCAA in 2023. In the suit, McKinney accuses the NCAA of discriminating against HBCU institutions through its academic reform programs. McKinney argues that the NCAA included metrics in its academic performance program, APP, that it knew would have a discriminatory effect on its HBCU member organizations. The NCAA requested to delay the lawsuit, but U.S. Magistrate Judge Mark J. Dinsmore denied the request and set a deposition for McKinney on July 17th. That happens to fall just a day after a settlement conference that's scheduled for July 16th. Judge Dinsmore wrote in his order, while defendants' failure to have completed the plaintiff's deposition prior to the scheduled date of the settlement conference may well be a failure to properly plan its necessary discovery, if it's neither good cause, it is neither good cause nor an extingent circumstance. So you can go and read more of the arguments within the lawsuit, the stance from the NCAA, but it'd be interesting to see kind of where that one goes, Drew.
She's suing for something that we've always said, that the NCAA guidelines when it comes to APR, APP, graduation rates differ than the mission of not only our HBCUs, but a lot of other minority serving institutions, MSIs. You know, because our admission rates, especially your public institutions, are lower. You know, we put you in remedial classes to get you up to college level standard if we have to, and those kind of don't go along with what some of the things that the NCAA requires. So it'll be interesting to see how this comes out.
Yeah. So again, that deposition is supposed to be July 17th. So in the next couple of weeks, we'll kind of follow up with that article by Tali. Again, you can go check that out on hbcugameday.com. All right, Drew, let's get ready to pack it up and get out of here. Yeah, great reminder. Thank you, David Garner. The second annual HBCU Swingman Classic is on Friday, July 12th at Global Life Field during the MLB All-Star Weekend. It'll be on MLB Network, 8 p.m. Central Time, probably. I don't know. Check your local listings. Check your local listings. It's hard to tell.
Global Life Field, a.k.a. the warehouse.
That's where the Texas Rangers play, correct?
Yes, the warehouse.
Yeah, Texas Rangers. So congrats to those guys. And then, of course, next week, Edwin Moore says it's he thinks it's probably 7. So I don't know.
So that 8 o'clock was probably Eastern time.
Yeah, well, you can't go wrong. If you start 8 p.m. Eastern, you're either an hour early or you're watching it on time. So
correct.
I do want to make a quick mention for those of us who follow tennis, Wimbledon. Been a strange weekend as not only the #1 player in the world went down, but also a favorite, Coco Gauff, as well as a very sneaky favorite by people who, by people who pay attention to these kind of things in the world of golf. But Madison Keys lost. So Gauff got beat today, 2 sets to love. Yeah, and then the more disappointing one was Madison Keys. I actually had a little wager on Madison Keys to win. She was in the 3rd set, tied at 5-5, Drew. She had actually lost the 1st set, won the 2nd set, was in a battle in the 3rd set. It was tied at 5, and she had to retire. Basically, an injury she couldn't go anymore. So, I mean, that type of injury really had to be tough. That you're in a tight battle, and you just can't even go anymore. I mean, so I didn't see how she hurt herself, but that's tough. So 2 young ladies that I was looking forward to rooting for this upcoming week. I don't know who I'm picking now, Drew. I'm kind of broke down. Yeah. All right. On the men's side, keep an eye out for Ben Shelton, the young brother from and it may not look like it, but he is from the University of Florida. Very light-skinned brother. Yeah, but I saw the parents, and yeah, daddy's. But anyway, he's from the University of Florida. Was one of the top collegiate tennis players, and now he was rocketing serves in the 140 to 145 miles an hour. The dude he's got a heater on his arm, so he will take on. I think he plays a favorite. Matter of fact, the #1 seed. I think the kid, this guy Sinner, Yannick Sinner. I think he plays him tomorrow. So if you want something to watch, and it's Wimbledon, there you go. All right, I think that'll do it for us. That'll cover the non-HBCU sports portion of the show. And notice we did not talk about soccer. No Copa America or Euro 2004. Although,
and we did not talk about Summer League either.
No Summer League talk. We'll save that for when they get to Vegas. Although I heard Bronny had like a swollen knee after game 1 already. So I don't know. He's inherited. Let me stop. Let me not do that to him. But anyway, tough break for the kid. Had a decent game 1. But watching Summer League NBA ball is really I better not. I'm gonna get in trouble for that comparison. Anyway, I put it like this: I'd rather watch.
Get out of here.
I'd rather watch WNBA basketball than NBA Summer League. I'm gonna just say it like that. How about that? All right, now I can leave. All right, thank you to everybody for watching the show tonight. Make sure to tune in Tuesday morning. The SIAC Media Day, Football Media Day will start at 9 a.m. I think
Wednesday.
Our live. Is it Wednesday? I thought it was Tuesday.
No, SIAC is Wednesday.
You sure about that? Oh, the SWAC is on
SIAC
Tuesday.
is Wednesday.
The SWAC is Tuesday. That's what it is.
Correct.
Okay, yeah, the 10th. July 10th is a Wednesday.
Yes.
So there you go. Wednesday morning, 9 a.m., that's the SIAC Media Day. Live coverage from the Black College Sports Network will probably be sometime around 10 o'clock, if not sooner. Please make sure to hit the thumbs up and the like button if you didn't do so already for us. Go check out the BCSN Pod Zone, where you can watch and listen to in podcast format on your favorite podcast platforms, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Spotify, so on and so forth. Damn, Shelton lost today. Well, there you go. It's a bad day for the family today, Drew. Damn, Shelton lost too. Anyway, BCSN Pod Zone, everywhere you listen to podcasts, just search BCSN Pod Zone, download, rate, review, subscribe. You ain't got to listen. Just download it. Help out the algorithm. We'd appreciate it. Drew?
Forgot to mention for the Rattler family about the ONG Awards.
Well, I mean, this is a general show, but yeah, for any Rattlers in the house who are normal watchers of our show, I mean, other people can vote as well, but it's not open it's not open or closed to just FAMU fans. But the ONG Awards, the second annual ONG Awards, are happening right now. Voting runs through Monday. If you're interested, go check out at ONG Strike Zone on X, on Instagram, or Facebook. You can find the link to go vote. This is our annual salute to players, coaches, administrators, and the best teams from the 2023-24 year. So if you watch our show normally on Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, you can go back and you can watch the show, and then you can actually tune in Wednesday for the announcement. So voting ends Monday night, announcements on Wednesday. All right. Thank you, Drew, for the reminder. That's going to do it for tonight's show. Thank you to everybody for watching. Thank you for participating, chatting, being a part of our BCSN family. You can always go subscribe to the YouTube channel, or you could always make a donation to the show. Every bit helps. For A.D. Drew, I'm Bryan Fulford. Thank you for watching. Peace out.
You stay on hard.